So the new gimmick of the show should be me trying to get to an introduction and to see how far into, because they're listening.
Oh, believe me, I can keep you from doing it for the whole show.
Coming to you from the cinema lounge of the
Carolina Asheville.
Yes, thank you, Carolina Asheville. It's Elitist Bastards Go to the Movies, which is both a directive and a description. Go. Okay, so you guys saw We're going to talk about.
We are? What are we going to talk about?
Let's start with Dark Shadows. You liked it?
I thought it was wonderful.
What did you think?
I liked it.
But you were not obsessive about it. You were not a huge fan of it.
I'm not obsessed about it. That seems a little strong.
Ken has the poster above his bed.
I do not.
He's actually dressed as Barnabas Collins.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that it would work.
You can't prove that I'm not. Is that one of those tea-soaked toothpicks that you're addicted to?
Would you like one?
No.
I've been addicted to these things. Yeah, this is tea tree oil soaked toothpicks. Anyway, no one likes it except for like me and 3 other people.
Is it some hippie thing?
I don't know. Let's talk about Dark Shadows. I did buy it at Greenlight.
I don't know. Yeah,
then yes.
Which is Whole Foods for the rest of you and the rest of the country. We don't get a Whole Foods in Nashville. We get a Whole Foods owned thing called Greenlight.
There'll be a Whole Foods one day.
I wish they would. I like Whole Foods.
So what we're saying is that you have a hippie part in your mouth.
I can't dispute that.
Apparently.
On either merit or content. Right now at this point. Yeah, so Dark Shadows. So Johnny Depp plays Barnabas Collins, who was a character on a TV show that was really crappy
also
back
called
in the
Dark
60s.
Shadows.
Yes.
Right. And
a lot of people are upset.
That he did this?
Yes.
Why?
Because they think that old stupid TV show is sacred.
Okay. And what do you think about it?
Well, I thought it was crap when it was new. When I was 12 years old, I thought it was crap.
So this is an improvement?
Oh, God, yes.
Did you know that Jeff Fobbs...
But this, of course, would not exist without the show. I grant that, you know.
Sure. I was going to say that Jeff Fobbs actually used to watch Dark Shadows in college, he said.
Yeah, that's about right. That's about our age difference.
But not because he liked the vampires or any of that stuff. He just thought the blonde girl was cute.
Jeff is always a classy guy.
More so than me. So...
we make a list here.
Yeah, I mean, to give some context, I came in wearing a soaked Hawaiian shirt.
He was moist.
With a flavored toothpick in your mouth.
Keep it classy, man. Keep it classy.
Hippie flavored.
So good, though. Okay.
You look like you've come from a long night of playing Diablo 3. That's what you look like.
Well, okay, I don't know what that meant, so...
But it was funny. You know there was an insult.
I knew it was an insult and it was funny, but I don't know what it meant.
The funny thing... Well, go ahead.
You can explain it to me at some other time.
So anyways, Dark Shadows, tell me your take on it, because you never saw the original series, I assume.
I've seen like 5 minutes of it, up to the very first
That's
episode.
usually enough, yeah.
I liked it. Some of Ken's problems from reading his review, which is, I guess, specifically your biggest problems with the climax.
Yeah, it's dumb. Right. It's not... Really, the film starts going downhill after the party.
Right.
Because that's where it stops being about the culture clash between 1776 and 1972.
Right. So your biggest problem with the film is the plot?
Yeah. But
it's valid.
That doesn't really bother me. There's enough stuff in it that I'm cool with it. I don't mind the plot. It's just that it's not very good.
See, it didn't hook me quite as well as it did you. So when it gets to the climax, it doesn't quite work. There's not. If it had had a better climax, I probably would like the movie better. But since it didn't,
this whole thing is sounding really sexual.
The third act.
Yeah, the third act would be better.
Wow.
Okay.
Even then, once you've got that in your mind,
the last
you're like,
third
over
of
the
film,
first two.
You know.
So how is Johnny Depp as?
Well, he's fine. I mean, I think it's
that's the thing is, like, everybody that wants to complain about Burton and Depp making another movie, like, all the problems with this movie have nothing to do with either one of them.
No, if there are any problems, it has to do with that script.
Right.
And the fact that some of the stuff that's in that climax, we may as well just go with that word, it does not, it goes nowhere. I mean, the big revelation about Chloe Grace Moritz
comes out of nowhere.
Comes out of nowhere and goes absolutely nowhere. It comes out of nowhere and it's gone in a minute and a half.
It's almost like they're setting up
a sequel.
Yeah, or a television series. Like,
but I don't think it's made enough money that we're going to see a sequel.
No.
And I don't see it recovering itself. And the funny thing is that in the same way that the Avengers was pre-sold, this was pre-killed.
How so?
Because you had the fanboys on the Avengers. The Avengers could have been the biggest stinking pile of crap you had ever seen, and it would still be making this kind of money.
I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
There were
this
a lot
movie
of
could
people
have been
who,
terrible.
the
and
Avengers
it would have still made money.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I don't think because Avengers broke $1 billion the other day
I know.
total, and that to me is crazy. Has anything ever done that? Like other than
Not
like a big
that fast.
franchise? Okay.
Well, I mean, there have been movies that made
Like Harry Potter.
Burton's Alice in Wonderland made over $1 billion.
Did it?
Figure that one out.
Huh? I didn't know that.
It's like Burton's second worst film, and it's made over $1 billion.
So,
Are you saying that Dark Shadows is too good?
I'm saying, well, in the first place, it is too good, and in the second place, it had more people who had already decided it was bad before they saw it. This was just all over the internet.
Just because Johnny Depp was in it.
Just because Johnny Depp was in another Tim Burton film. And like, it's like, oh, it's the same stuff. I defy you to watch Sweeney Todd and then watch this and tell me there's any connection between the two. There is nothing sympathetic about his Sweeney Todd, really. And there's everything sympathetic about this, which is, the whole thing also is, the trailer sucks. The trailer is terrible.
It didn't really sell me, I'll say that much.
If the trailer had been cut to Nights in White Satin, which is the primary song in the film, other than the Carpenter's thing, and had shown some actual vampire activity, I think you might have had a whole different reaction to this movie. It would certainly have been a more elegant trailer.
I guess as long as we're talking about this, we can talk about the fact that you saw The Salt of Life, and that it's a tiny little film. Do you have anything to say about that? I mean, while we're talking about current releases?
It's a tiny little film, and it's enjoyable. It's fine for what it is. I will never see it again, and in a year I'll forget that I ever saw it.
You summed it up in your review as saying something like, if you didn't need to see a movie to tell you you're getting old sucks.
Yeah, I already knew getting old sucks. And that's kind of what the movie is about. But it's enjoyable enough, and it has a good sense to be gone within the space of 87 minutes or so.
I'd like to try something a little bit different and see if you guys actually saw, either of you saw films this week that may not be current releases. You saw them on cable or on DVD or whatever this week that really stood out for you.
Not that we didn't run.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't really have any time usually, it seems like.
What did I watch this week?
Well, I don't
I've been
know.
watching basketball. We can talk about that. Ken doesn't want to.
Is that where you go when we're running movies?
Sometimes.
I long ago stopped programming things with you in mind because I figured you're not going to watch them.
Watch them.
Rarely.
Okay.
Have a seat.
So my wonderful new idea didn't go anywhere. That's good.
We didn't have anything to talk about. You
both watch movies. You're both people. You like watching movies.
Yeah, but I didn't watch anything noteworthy or interesting. I saw a lot of pieces of crap on TCM, but it was all stuff that I'd seen before.
Yeah, I didn't really see anything out of it, so I can't really complain.
Don't let it get away.
Well, I want to talk about, since we're talking about Burton, we're
Yeah.
both sort of in the same boat. I was reading that there's a new Michel Gondry film that's playing
Oh, good. And people are going to
at
hate
Cannes.
it. Yes. And
I don't know
people
if it's
have
playing
already
at Cannes or if
decided
it's playing at the Film Market. Well, I saw one review where it was... They didn't like it. But it was also got into how his potential's never been reached and how Be Kind Rewind was bad. And how Science of Sleep wasn't good. And that everything good about Eternal Sunshine was probably Charlie Kaufman at this point.
It seems like a really weird series of claims to make to me.
Well,
not to say
I feel like that's a lot of I feel like there's a lot of people that do feel that way, and I know Ken and I don't, and it's the same way.
The man managed to make a watchable movie about the Green Hornet.
Right.
Say what you will about it, but that's kind of impressive.
Right. Well, what I want to say is that Ken and I, at least,
That shouldn't have been so taxing that you had to stop talking.
What was I saying? You can massage napkins in front of me. I don't know what that was. I know Ken and I tend to like the stuff nobody else does, which I find... Like, everybody was complaining about...
Which makes no sense because we're not that much alike in so many ways. And we're certainly not the same age.
No, that's not my point, though.
Just have something to... Okay, anyway.
I'm getting... Well, I don't know if I have a point, but I'm trying to get to this because I was thinking about... It's the same way with Wes Anderson. Like when the Moonrise Kingdom trailer came out, everybody was complaining about how it looks like
a Wes Anderson movie,
and how there's a Tim Burton movie. It looks like a Tim Burton movie.
That's the whole thing about it. I mean, it's like I said in the review. I have never once gone to a record store and bought a Beatles album hoping it was going to sound like the Rolling Stones. This is the dumbest idea on earth. Now, it looks like a Tim Burton movie. Well, thank God, I wanted a Tim Burton movie. I mean, what is that?
I do keep hoping that you'll start writing like Ben Lyons. I guess he doesn't write, does he? Maybe Ebert. I was trying to think of, Pete Hammond, there you go.
Pete Hammond? Oh, great.
I keep hoping Ken will start writing like Pete Hammond.
Why?
Because that's the joke, because he's awful. That's all. Anyway, but yeah.
So do you think there's any validity to that argument about Michel Gondry?
The thing is like Anderson, Burton, and to an extent Gondry are all very distinct filmmakers.
Yeah. Right now, the same could be said about Rian Johnson. Right now,
right.
Looper may change that.
Right. Well, that could be something else.
Yeah.
Since he's making stuff that's more, I don't know. I guess I don't know what the consensus on Brothers Bloom is, as far as how people feel about it.
At the time, it was mostly dismissed as being a lightweight imitation Wes Anderson.
Right. I feel like I need to see a few more of his films to get an idea of what he's
there's
attempting.
Only the two.
I know, but I sort of get... Now we're getting off on a tangent, and I don't want to do that, but...
Why not? Otherwise it's such a great
but I want to keep...
us.
We'll get back to the other stuff, but with Rian Johnson, I'm starting to get the feeling that he's making movies like other people, but in his own style. And this is solely based on Brothers Bloom and the trailer for Looper, which sort of looks like Christopher Nolan, but more fun.
God, what isn't more fun than Christopher Nolan?
Like you could say Brothers Bloom is a Wes Anderson movie, but it's filtered through.
Yeah, but it has the same sadness that a Wes Anderson picture has.
Right. So he's making that, but it's not copying.
Oh, it's not a copy, I don't think, at all.
I need to see Looper, and I need to probably see another movie to get an idea of maybe that's kind of what he's doing.
It's possible.
So, but then you have Burton, you have Anderson, who are very
distinctive in their own
especially
way.
in their aesthetic. Like they have a very distinct, like.
Yeah. They also have a very distinct set of interests.
Right. But at the same time, you have people like Christopher Nolan, who is kind of making the same movie over and over too.
But you don't hear anybody bitch about that.
Right.
It's because I think that's because the Nolan films.
He's using the same actors, like.
Yeah, but I don't think the Nolan films are. I don't think they really challenge anybody's conceptions of anything. I don't think they really. I don't really think they're difficult for anybody. I don't think they challenge anybody's ideas. I don't think they are that personal, frankly.
Well, they sort of have like a sheen of being complex. And
I
know
not
you
that
liked
complex.
I know you liked Inception more than I did.
Well, I think almost everybody liked Inception better than you did.
Yeah. Which was part of the reason was I never felt like he was being as clever as he thinks he is with that movie.
Well, I could say that about Following and Memento, too. So.
Yeah. So, which is part of the reason I've never gone back and watched The Prestige, is because I'm afraid I won't like it as much.
The Prestige holds up. I haven't tried Inception again.
Okay.
I know Shansa watched it and liked it, but that doesn't necessarily mean I will.
And I might watch Inception with lowered expectations and like it more. But
well, after Dark Knight, I didn't have expectations.
No, exactly. So I don't know. It's curious how people react to things.
Well,
when it's,
let's
and Nolan has certain visual style, but he's not. It's more subdued. It's not
what's
as
funny to me about this is that you take one of these household deity fanboy creatures. Let's take David Fincher.
Right.
Okay.
Who sort of is using the same? Does he use the same?
Well,
I guess he doesn't.
Here's the thing: is that with Fincher, which I mean, my biggest problem is I see Fincher and I want to slap him because I've never seen anybody that looked quite this smug in my life. But the one time he tried to make something that was drastically different from his other films was The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and it was a disaster, both commercially and in terms of art. It is a terrible movie. I know I'll have some hate mail from that, but it is a dreadful movie.
I mean, while we're doing this, do you want to say anything about the Coen brothers? Smack them around?
No, they're good though.
But it's eventually going to happen. Somebody's going to say, "Oh, it's just another Coen Brothers movie."
Well, and actually, at this point, that's how I feel about them.
I know people who have that attitude. I know people who've had that attitude since 1990.
Well, it's even before that was Woody Allen. Like,
oh, the Coen Brothers really know how to swing a camera around. So what? That's what I hear. I've been hearing that from people for years.
Well, you know, because it's interesting you guys say that because I like about 1 out of every 5 Coen Brothers movies, and I like about 1 out of every 5 Woody Allen movies, and they all seem very samey to me, for different reasons. I don't want to stop either of them from making movies, but
I think part of it, well, for me at least.
But is there anybody who you like all of their movies?
No, I can say that pretty easily. For me, it's always a percentage, like how much of what they do. For instance, I like maybe 1 out of every 3 Tim Burton movies. I don't love any of them, but there's some that I really do like. I think Edward Scissorhands is a really actually good film.
You see, I don't really think you're a movie person. That's what I was getting at online when we were, arguing about
I like the Avengers. Just because I like the Avengers.
No, it's fine that you like it.
Yeah.
That you think it's great is something else.
I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's a great comic book movie.
But I mean, the whole thing is, though, is that you cite all these comic book references that make you sound like a giant comic book weenie.
Right. But I'm doing that in a movie about dudes who have green skin smacking giant sky snakes.
I understand that, but I mean, the whole thing about that is the idea that in general, people don't seem to find this dumb. I find it incredibly dumb.
What, the Avengers or superheroes?
Superheroes in general.
I mean, it's dumb. There's no getting around the fact that it's dumb. It's not high art. I mean, at best, it's a metaphor. At absolute best, it's a metaphor for...
And that's stretching it.
Well, sure. I mean, but that's fine, because it's like professional wrestling. Like, I don't expect anything out of it.
Well, that's the whole thing about it. I mean, to me, all these movies can be reduced, with very few exceptions, to what is being asked for of Barton Fink in Barton Fink. It's a wrestling picture. What's to know? It's about big men in tights. That's it.
Well, yeah, but there's also something about the execution of that, and I find it really. For instance, you can look at Ang Lee's The Hulk, right? He tried to do something bigger with that, but the fact that someone that talented, and there's no getting around the fact that Ang Lee is a very, very talented filmmaker. But he couldn't understand the basic. He couldn't make a wrestling movie. Essentially, he couldn't make a movie about a Jekyll and Hyde Hulk man.
But he got the surface of a comic book look better than anybody has. With those panels, the way he did the panels, it was brilliant.
There were things about
the biggest problem with that film, other than the fact that the CGI is not good, which has very little to do with the filmmaker,
right,
is that stupid idea of having the Hulk bound around continents. That on film, that looks really stupid.
Well, and it's a stupid idea. But again, someone like Joss Whedon, who writes comics and understands them, is able to pull it off. And I mean, there was a good movie about dudes in tights hitting each other. There was The Wrestler. That was a good film. I wouldn't call it a great movie, but it was far better than the premise would suggest.
Okay, but yeah,
it's good enough. I mean, like I don't. I don't have any compulsion to ever see it again. But
well, yeah,
I liked
exactly,
it well enough
exactly.
while it was on screen. But there's very few films I feel that way about. I mean, and you're right, far less than you, I suspect. But
yeah, you know.
I mean, I am planning on watching Weekend at Bernie's tonight. I haven't seen that in a while, so
That's pretty pathetic.
So while you're wearing the Hawaiian shirt.
I plan for it all day, man, all day.
You gonna staple some hair to your head or something?
I mean, you do raise a good point, though. That
Yeah, but but you're right, though. I mean, when you say less than I do, I mean, we ran His Girl Friday last night.
Mm-hmm. Which is a good film. I love that.
I own a 16mm copy of this film. And I sat through this thing last night, and it is probably. I think online I commented somewhere that it was probably the 20th or 30th time I've seen it.
Sure.
But it's probably the 50th or 60th.
But I mean, again, by comparison, but if you compare that movie's construction to a modern movie, there's a lot of things it doesn't have. But it's a fundamentally good film. I enjoy it. But there are people, if they were fanboys back when that film was made, they'd be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they changed it to a girl." If there are people who had actually been following the original,
No. I actually had an argument with someone today who said that that's nothing but a gimmick. Believe it or not.
So I mean, it's the same kind of it's the same kind of thing in a lot of ways.
But bear in mind that this guy and I have been arguing about this film since 1973.
So would you say he's His Girl Friday fanboy? No, he's not. What was the original play?
Because the front page. The whole thing is changing it from that play. He gets really weird when people change plays.
Huh. So that's
so he's kind of a theater weenie.
And I think the subtext to this episode is...
If you press him into a corner, he'll
prepare
admit...
for 5 minutes before you push record? Is that the...
But if you press him into a corner, he'll admit that he generally likes movies better than stage plays. So I don't understand this.
What's the subtext is that we're all nerds about something.
Yeah.
Well, I love the fact that I seriously haven't picked up a comic book in like 6 years.
That's what really baffles me is the fact that I know you have gotten past wanting to read comic books.
Right, but it doesn't mean that I don't want things to be treated right, and that's the main thing that I have.
How long did you read comic books?
I didn't start reading comic books until I was fairly old. I was probably about 14, and I probably stopped when I was 27, something like that.
Here's the thing.
So half of your life at that point, almost.
Yeah, and we're talking an encyclopedia.
So I mean, that's still like.
And I was never at the front line of it. I was never the guy who went out to the comic book store. I mean, I've read stuff at the library. I bought collected editions.
But you have to bear in mind that you started reading comic books. When you started, you were 2 years older than I was when I said, "Why am I reading this crap?"
But they got better.
But that's not my point. Is that was a big part of your life?
Absolutely.
It's not like comic books treated you wrong and you're never gonna like have anything to do with them.
No. I mean, I think they're great for a certain stage in your understanding.
Now, if somebody would make Magnus Robot Fighter into a movie, I would be there.
But you'd want to make sure that it was done right.
The only thing it's got to do right is that when a robot's head comes off, it has to go squee. If it doesn't go squee, they've done it wrong.
So bringing it back to Dark Shadows, there may be someone out there who is just like, I wanted this to look awful and be boring. I really wanted this to just not be something that, like, I wanted to sit here and feel
Well, actually, I know two fanatics who went to see it. Justin's actually has the least enthused response of anybody I know who has seen it.
I didn't dislike it.
I know. You're almost in the Don Mancini area, but Don actually has gone to see it twice now and keeps liking it better.
Yeah.
And aside from which, he wants a fireplace with howling wolves that lead to a secret chamber. But two of the biggest nerds I know thought the film was wonderful. And one of these guys has got, owns all 1,227 episodes of the show, plus the 2 movies, plus all 22 novel extensions of the. I mean, this was somebody who was really.
Right, he's a fanboy.
Yeah.
And he liked it.
He thought it was wonderful. Absolutely loved it.
I mean, and it sounds like Burton does. It sounds like Burton loved it, and Johnny Depp loved it. I mean, so it seems like it came from a good place.
You can't really do a good parody of something unless you do love it. The best parody that I have ever seen, the best mockumentary I've ever seen, is the Ruddles' All You Need Is Cash, which is obviously made by guys who are crazy about the Beatles. You know, the Marx Brothers satirize bridge mercilessly in Animal Crackers. These are four guys who were nuts about bridge. Right. You know, this is why I do not believe there will ever be a good parody of the Twilight movies.
Right.
Because nobody who could do it is going to love that film. I hope.
Did we lose Justin?
He went to start the cereal. He'll be back in a minute.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and send this off. We've got plenty of time. So this is Steve Shanafeld talking to Ken Hankey. Justin Souther went to go push a button of some kind.
Yes, he did.
And we'll talk to you guys next time.
We'll be here.